Death meditation. So occasionally I'll do a video where I give a trigger warning about the content of the video, and this is one such video. I never know how these things are going to land. This one may not be triggering, but I suspect for some it will. So you were warned. As far as death meditation, I've never read a death meditation. I've never seen anybody else's way of doing it. I don't know how it looks in doctrine and scriptures and so forth. So the way I approach this may be completely different than anything you've seen before, if you have indeed seen or participated in death meditations. I'm just coming forward from my own experience with this, and I'm speaking from a place or a position or an orientation of deep realization as far as who this is kind of targeted toward. So just be aware of that. This may be very valuable for somebody who is early on in this process or hasn't had a shift, but it's probably going to be more accessible, valuable to someone in deeper realization. Also, most of what I'm going to talk about in this is non-conceptual. It's really instinctual. So it's much more something you feel into than think about. So if you find yourself listening to this and you kind of find a lot of judgment, or you're in your mind or comparing what I'm saying to other processes or other people or teachers or other death meditations or, whatever, that's okay, but it's not really the point. If you notice that happening, I would suggest just drop into the body, feel where it's pointing you in the physicality. And if there's an aha about this, about what I'm talking about, it may not come right away. You may, just by surrendering to that sensation, that energetic sensation, that energetic experience of the moment as you listen to this, that surrender itself may sort of plant a seed, and at some point it may clarify, or you may get a sense of what I'm actually pointing to here. I'm sure others will vibe with this very much, but I never know how this is going to land or who's going to hear it. So I just wanted to give these kinds of introductions. So this is a death meditation. At some point with this process, you will encounter a very real kind of death. There's a statement loosely this way in Zen that says, die the big death and the physical death won't be such a problem, or won't be a problem at all. And I think that's exactly right. But what's this business about dying the big death? Well, what I talk about is awakening, and I talk about an initial shift in identity, and then I talk about the natural, spontaneous unbinding that will follow this first shift in identity. You'll feel like you're in charge of it at times. You'll feel like you're directing it. Other times you'll feel like you're not directing it. But ultimately, you're not. It's a process that's unfolding on its own. It is conditions-based, but it's not something you're choosing or deciding how fast it goes or really how it goes at all. It's just unfolding on its own, right? So we'll call this the unbinding. And the unbinding will ultimately lead you to a place where you will go beyond yourself in this life, in this body, in this mind, in this set of memories, in this iteration, this incarnation. So this kind of energetic existential death will occur at some point. Now, depending on what has led up to that, and perhaps depending on your karmic affinities and so forth, the experience of that varies a lot. For some people, it's rather horrific for a period of time, maybe a short period of time, but it can be surprising. Even after everything that comes before, it can be very surprising. For others, it's much more simple, straightforward, and kind of like, oh, of course, yeah. But the implications either way are profound, very profound. I could even say that this is a new kind of beginning, right? Some people will ask, like, when does this end? When does the awakening stuff end? When's the final step, the final stage? And this is a kind of finality. It's a finality when it comes to the illusion of self, for sure. But it is really I would say, where you're it's nothing to do with you anymore, and that's the key insight. But it's where the process really starts coming forward powerfully, really starts causing profound transformation at deep energetic levels, at karmic levels. Even when the self-structure drops, it doesn't mean that all of our self-centered habits, the selfing and so forth, just completely stops. It doesn't. You'll see it happening. You'll see it in Technicolor because there's nowhere to hide from it anymore, because the self is where you used to hide, right? So that's going to continue. But it puts you in a place where you really can start to abandon the tendencies towards greed, ignorance, hatred, selfishness, confusion, ignorance, and all of it. So this is what we're talking about when we talk about death, ultimately in the spiritual sense. This is the death of the illusion of self, the illusion of separation, the illusion of center, the illusion of all of these aspects of the self, the center, the separation, all of it, form. These are just aspects, but the fundamental illusion is the self. And it's not subtle, and it's not ambiguous when that drops. So in my opinion, a death meditation should point to that. It just should. Because what else is it going to point to? Because when you've gone through that, then death is not a problem. The problem of birth and death has been solved, in my opinion, at the clear realization of no self. So death meditation is about solving the problem of birth and death. Now, even at that point, even when the illusion of self has dropped, this meditation can be very valuable because, as I said, even though the self can be seen through, the selfing mechanisms don't stop. They slow down over time, for sure. And the fundamental illusion that keeps them going is dead. It's gone. So even though they have momentum, they will slow down and stop little by little. So this death meditation can be a practice to reattune and remind yourself of what was actually realized. What was actually realized in that anatta realization. So death meditation. There is a passage in the 3 Pillars of Zen, and several things I read in that book stuck out and had effects and were catalytic. As I've mentioned many times, the chapters on awakening and enlightenment that people talked about, where people talked about their Kensho experience, were so powerful and transformative for me because I'd never seen what that looked like. I've heard about enlightenment, but it sounded like something that happened to some dude 2,500 years ago. I didn't relate to it. I related to those stories for sure. I was like, oh, that's what they mean. Okay, it's possible for me right now. And that quickly led me into a very steep path, a steep investigation. But there were certain things I read in relation to those stories and to the interview or Dokusan descriptions of the student working with the Zen teacher, who was Yasutani Roshi, old Japanese Zen master. And one of the things he said when he was pushing somebody to the edge, to the brink and beyond, he said, pluck up your life root. And something about that really, really deeply resonated with me. It was like, yes, that's what I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to do that. I don't know why I knew that. I didn't think in those terms. I didn't understand anything about energetics or chakras or anything like that, but there was something about it that made sense. Pluck up your life root. It sounded to me like, pulling the sword out of the stone or summiting Mount Everest or something from a spiritual perspective. It was like, yes, that's it. That's the thing to do. And I knew it, sure of it. So what we're talking about here is that life root, actually. And reminding ourselves that we have already cut that tether. We've already cut the tether. I could say the moment you step one foot on this path, the moment you realize the truth of the first noble truth, which is that life is suffering or dukkha or unsatisfactory, unsatisfying, the moment you realize that, in one sense, you could say you've cut the tether because it's just a matter of time. But you've really cut the tether when that self-structure falls and you know it and you can't forget it, right? So what does it mean that we've cut that tether? Okay, well, here's the directness of it, and this is why I gave the trigger warning. This death meditation is a reminder right now. Everything you know is gone. Everything you remember is gone. All of your collected experiences and wisdom, gone. Your knowledge, gone. Your friends, gone. Your family, gone. Gone. Obliterated, eradicated. Not there. Your hope for an afterlife, gone. Your hope for a savior, gone. Your hope for nirvana, gone. Any awakening insight that you've collected or that you hold so dear to your heart, gone. Your perspective of this life, everything you've learned, your spiritual heart, gone. Feel it die away over and over and over. Nothing. You have nothing. You have nothing left, and you will save nothing. This fire burns everything, and it continues to burn through eternity. You can't have anything. Can't hold on to anything anymore because there's nothing left to hold on anymore. So there's no hope, no dreams, no future, no past. Can you let go of all that? And I said it this directly because I wanted to help you search within yourself. Find the places in your body that light up when you hear this. That's where you're holding on. And if you want to argue with me in your mind, that's okay when I give these descriptions. But take a moment and ask, okay, well, the mind is saying what it says, but where's my body lighting up? Where do I feel this? Do you feel panic? Is it in your neck? Do you feel fear? Do you feel existential dread? Sadness, grief? All of those are signposts. So stay with the death meditation, the endless letting go of everything. Everything you know, everything you are, everything you were, everything you think you're going to be. The specialness of spirituality, gone. So keep that energetic signature at the forefront, and at the very same time, feel what it is that's trying to hold on, that doesn't want that to be the case. Feel it fully, process it, hold it, stay with it. See if there's any distance. Are you holding back from any of that? Running away? Trying to shut it out? Now, I understand that many people just getting this far in this meditation may have felt an intense experience of strong trigger. I'm going to get comments saying I shouldn't do this and that this is wrong and I'm wrong about this. And, these are triggers. These are various levels of fear that don't want to hear the truth of what I'm pointing to, but they also know it at some level. Of course you do. And that's fine. That's going to happen, right? But what I want to point to is that even if you get triggered by this, or you feel very intense reaction to it, keep at it. And this will lead you to freedom. There is such an incredible freedom here. But if you're holding on to what you think you know at any level, you won't know the freedom. You'll be using that holding on to avoid some energetic somatic signature that needs to be addressed for you to really know freedom, peace, rest, home. Because nothing, including everything I just said about no life, no self, no future, no past, like everything can become a fixation, can become co-opted, can become a view. I'm not offering you a view, I'm offering you an antidote. Yeah. And so when the antidote is given or imbibed, look for the symptoms. Look for what lights up. That's the key to this. And keep at it until you can stay with this. If you can stay with this direct contact with death, which is coming very soon for you and me and all of us, very soon, right? In the grand scheme, drop in the bucket, one grain of sand on an infinite beach, right? If you can stay with that, stay in direct connection with death, you will know freedom. You will finally fully live. And I'll even go so far as to say you never will fully live. You may have a good life, but you'll never fully live and you'll never fully know freedom until you can stay in direct communion with death. Memento mori. A lot of primitive cultures know this, know this, right? A lot of indigenous cultures, they know this. We've culturally evolved ourselves far away from this. That's why we suffer so much. One of the reasons I think we suffer so much. One of the many. But you can go back to it. You can get back to it. It's easy to remind yourself. Go to a cemetery. You know, if you're a medical person, it's much easier to remind yourself. I see it all the time. I see it around me. People getting devastating illnesses. I also see people who convince themselves that, oh, if I just eat right and, you know, I'm not fat like that guy and I'm not smoking like that fool and I don't drink alcohol like that idiot, right? Like you can mentally separate yourself and pretend like, oh, I'll never get sick. I'm healthy, like as if you're never going to die. But I've seen those people get devastating illnesses as well, right? We are born of the nature to grow old, become sick, and die. That's it. That's the truth. If you can stay in communion with the truth, the most physical, energetic truth that is essentially available, death. If you can stay in communion with that, you'll live a good life. But you'll find a lot of strategies around you, a lot of tendencies inside you, a lot of distractions offered to you that will run you away from that. It will take you everywhere but there. But I won't. I'll take you right there if you want to go, because I know the value of it. Yeah. So die the big death and the rest will not be a problem. And if you got something out of this, whether it was liberating and freeing or whether it was terrifying and causing contraction, come back, do it again. Keep at it. Find where this leads you into the body, into the mind, into your holding places, into what it is you don't want to let go of, and let go of it. Let go. It's okay. It's okay to let go of everything. Because what you're holding on to is an illusion at every level. That's the freedom when you realize you can let go, completely let go. That's it. That's my death meditation. How'd it go for you? I want to hear about it.